There's a fresh track here in Leger, and it's guaranteed to, wait for it, pump you up. Will King of Crankworx Adrien Laurent notch a repeat win in front of his home crowd? Or will the fast foreigners reign on the French pump track parade here in the Haute Savoie? Reigning queen of Crankworx, Jill Kintner, knows the drill. She won here last year, but can anyone derail her chances for the Crankworx pump track title? Anyone? All we can say is, bonne chance, mesdames et messieurs. It's new, it's smooth, and it's coming to you. The RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. Live from round 3 of the Crankworx World Tour in Leger, France.
Well, there you have it. Michaela Gatto said it all. Taking a look at last year right now when Adrien Laurent took the win in front of a home country crowd. Of course, the French crowd, I guess you can take a look at the screen and you can tell they love it when a Frenchman wins pump track. But take a look at this year. Adrien Laurent is all focused right now because in order to experience that same bliss that he had just a year ago, he's got to put his metal to the grindstone and work hard because pump track, it's a long war. All these brackets to make it through to the final, it's not easy. So how's it going, everybody? I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside an expert in anything that has to do with mountain bikes, Andrew Neethling. Turns out he's pretty fast on a bicycle. And we got the 3rd stop of the Crankworx World Tour right now. 2 weeks in a row. Can you complain? We're in beautiful Leger, France. Andrew, it's about time we kick off the broadcast schedule. What do you say?
That it is, man, and I can't wait for tonight. We've got some great French riders here on home soil, but none other than Keegan Wright from New Zealand has actually qualified faster, so can he upset the locals?
Well, the locals are going to be cheering on their Frenchmen, but obviously everybody from the rest of the world is going to be looking to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen again. Look at the current standings right now. There's a few notable Frenchmen in the top 3.
Those are the 3 we spoke about, Cheney Guinet, Thomas Lewin, Adrien Laurent, all in the top 3 in the standings, and they're here tonight on home soil. But there is a whole host of riders that can upset that home soil advantage.
So what do you think, though? I mean, with the added adrenaline that comes with riding in front of your countrymen, they're very, very, very enthusiastic. Do you think it's possible to take out guys like Thomas Lemoine? I mean, he's looking on point right now with the pink pants.
Well, it brings a little bit more fire under your belly, but it does add to the pressure. This is one of the races that you really want to perform because you're on home soil. You might have family and friends here. You really want to do well. And like I said, sometimes you put too much pressure on yourself and it doesn't go your way.
Well, another guy who's under pressure here is the guy who won just a week ago, Cheney Guinet. What do you think his chances are today?
I think really good. He's flying a little bit under the radar. He didn't qualify where he wanted to, but that might play into his strengths. Not too many people are talking about him just yet because people like Keegan Wright were ahead of him in the qualifying.
All right, so there's a couple riders that you have to have your eye on, especially if you're playing Fantasy Crankworx. If you don't know what that is, go to fantasy.crankworx.com. Andrew Neethling, you did that. You built a team. What was your strategy? Walk us through it.
Well, I obviously looked at my salary cap. You can't just go out and buy all the good riders. So what I've got to do is just understand how much budget I've got and how many riders I've got.
So here's who you picked earlier. I mean, I don't want to give up any secrets here,
well,
but who'd you put on your team?
It's plain as day there. I took someone like Luca Medi, really good buy, but he qualified 2nd. Dark Horse Eddie Masters qualified in 8th. In the females, luckily enough, I've got enough budget to take Jill because she's like the favorite. And then I would go down the bracket and see who else I can fit in there and hope for some more points.
All right, so different riders are better on different courses. This course has a very different start than what we've seen in the first 2 stops of the World Tour so far. I want you to take us to race school. You're so good at doing this. We have a few different techniques for starting out of the gate. Now, the gate's a little bit different. Give us a little baseline knowledge of the different starting techniques.
Well, Cam, obviously we know in pump track here at Crankworx, you're not allowed to have a chain, so you've got to get pretty unique with your starts. This is my personal favorite, the slippery salmon. What these guys are trying to do, they're trying to wiggle that wheel from left to right to gain some forward momentum and get some forward drive.
So that makes sense. The slippery salmon, it's efficient. Pumping isn't all about going vertically. You can go horizontally. But this is my favorite. We call it the squatting dog. It may not be as pretty to watch, but it's far more hilarious, and that is why it's my favorite. How does this work?
Well, I'm going to leave that one to you, but here in Leger, we have a different, unique starting style. We're probably going to see some new techniques that we haven't seen, like the slippery salmon, your favorite, the squatting dog.
Right.
I apologize.
So the jury's out on what type of starting technique Jill Kintner is going to be using, but there's no doubt in anybody's mind that she's the dominant force when it comes to the women's category in pump track racing. I feel like it's time we catch up with her.
Jill, I've noticed that you've been down in both first heats in Rotorua and Innsbruck, but in the second round you seem to step up your game. Do you think you need pressure to perform to your best?
I definitely don't think I need it, but in both of those examples, I didn't actually know I was down. Like, the timing's not super clear when it's like, and basically when it's 300s, it's like it's like level again. So I've been in those situations. I've been to the Olympics before where the pressure's like insane, and I seem to do okay in those moments. I think I really do enjoy those moments, and that's when I kind of feel the fire and like, know I got something to prove and I'm ready for these opportunities. So yeah, I've been there several times, and I kind of just like the challenge to myself. Like, you know, when it's too easy or you just start clicking through rounds, it's not really that fun. So the kind of like competitive drive that these guys are providing is it's good for me. I love it.
Well, that's great to hear. Do you think you were born with some of that, or you've practiced it over the years?
I don't know. I just like have built that in. I do play games at home where it's like, you know, you got to have scenarios where that thing is in your practice as well. So I practice, you know, when the pressure's on and I have like one chance to do it. So I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, it's something I've had to learn over the years, and definitely failed a lot at it as well, but try and fail at home when it, when it doesn't matter.
Well, thanks for that, Jill. We really enjoy watching you perform under pressure, and all the best for tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there it is right there. Jill Kintner, she's completely undefeated so far this season. She won in Rotorua, she won a week ago in Innsbruck, she won here last year, so she's undeniably the one to beat.
That she is, and here we take a look back at Innsbruck, the second heat of that gold medal matchup. And it's so impressive with Jill. I know she's an amazing bike rider and she puts all that work in, but you heard a little secret she was giving there. She's not only under pressure here, but she puts herself under pressure when she's practicing, and that's why she's so unstoppable here on the big stage here at Crankworx.
That's the one thing that people probably forget to replicate. You don't just have to have only 4 times a year where you're under pressure. I think it's a pretty smart idea to include that into your training program. It absolutely seems to be working for Jill, because look at her name at the top of this leaderboard right here. Big old #1 next to it. That's something we're very accustomed to seeing with Jill Kintner. But take a look who's in second. She's been biting at the heels of Jill Kintner.
Yeah, Kehlani Hines has come out qualified second in both the previous rounds 1 and 2. Can she go one better and get the gold medal today?
All right, well, that's what you're watching for in the women's category, but of course we have the men's field as well. So here's a look at the brackets we have for the men's category. We're gonna start out with 16 of the fastest pump track riders in the world. They came out here, they did their qualifying rounds. Keegan Wright came out on top. What are some of these brackets that are standing out to you as some exciting races?
Fastest qualified, Keegan Wright, against a good friend of mine, Brendan Faircloth. No slouch in a pump track. Eddie Masters, the dark horse, going down. Mason Bryant, we haven't seen a lot of him, against Adrian Laurent. Thomas Slavik is back in the field. Thomas Lemoyne, and then Luca Comedi down at the bottom, qualified in second.
So that's who we're going to be seeing racing in the women's category and the men's category. If you love pump track, you came to the right place. We're kicking off the broadcast schedule. RockShox Legit Pump Track Challenge coming up after this.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
This is Valley Hole. She's 16 years old. This is what Valley does. This is Valley's RockShox Boxer. It's a fork that's been more than 20 years in the making, which means...
Daar waren nog gar niet af de beurt.
But that doesn't matter. We built a new Boxer for now. History is most important when you learn from it. Boxer is best when you ride it.
Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Love the feeling of being truly awake. Well, here's a guy we haven't talked about yet, Andrew Needling, and we really have to. This is your 2016 King of Crankworx, Thomas Slavic.
Yeah, none other than Thomas Slavic, a former four-cross world champion, our 2016 King of Crankworx. He's a little bit slow on the points so far, so hopefully he can gain some more tonight.
And we did speak of this woman earlier because she's the one, if anybody can do it, she's going to be the one who can take down Jill Kintner. This is Keilani Hines.
Keilani Hines has been so close. Like we said earlier, she's been leading the first heat of the gold medal matchup. And then Jill, with that experience, has just outshone her and taken on the win. Can she go one better tonight?
Well, Keilani Hines, so close in the first two stops this season, but so far away. Another opportunity for all of these riders right here to make some magic happen, to earn some valuable points, and hopefully take home a medal. Now, if you're not revved up yet, I say it's time you get the blood pumping because this is the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge, and it starts right now. This place has attracted the best mountain bike riders in the world. 90 kilometers of bike trails here in the Port du Soleil region.
The crowd is going wild out there.
Nobody has any room for air here. One last feature. Cork 725, Vinny lands it.
What a huge run. We could have a new leader here.
It's so awesome though. It's like one of the funnest tracks I've ever ridden. Ever.
He's looking good. He's going to take it.
Oh, just barely too short.
Dude, it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, it's on, my people. If you're a mountain bike fan, we gave you a great show last week, and we only had to wait a few days until we're back underway, round 3 of the Crankworx World Tour. This is the Pump Track Challenge, the way we love to kick off all the events on the entire tour. Now, Leger, one of everybody's favorite stops. So many fantastic French riders, and we get even more of them, some that we don't even know anything about when we come here to Leger. Here's a look at our brackets right now. Run number 1, we're going to get right going with one of the most exciting rounds.
That it is. Keegan Wright, your number 1 qualified against Brendan Fairclough, who qualified in 16th position. But everything can happen in Pump Track, and it most certainly will.
So Keegan Wright on the left side of your screen right there. He's the fastest qualifier out here today. Brendan Fairclough, one of the most well-known mountain bike riders in the world. I'm sure he's going to give him a run for his money.
And he's got a good start there. Brendan Fairclough has had a pump track in his back garden. Hasn't been using it much lately, though. What is it going to say coming down to the finish line?
It's going to be close. Well, there we go. Keegan Wright starting things off exactly how he wants to, putting a .31 on Brendan Fairclough.
And this track is very short with not a lot in it. There's only one turn per rider, a 180 turn. There's not a lot of ground to make up time here.
So the way this works is you got to obviously stay on track. And you see those flags on your screen right now? You got to be on the appropriate side of those flags. And it looks like we're reviewing this because timing and scoring is wondering if he's on the proper side. But right there, that slow-mo replay shows that he's all good. He's the top qualifier for a reason. He knows how to keep it in between the flags. And a .31, Brendan Fairclough is going to have to make up that deficit once they switch sides and drop in again. If you're not familiar with the format of this type of racing, he'll have to beat Keegan by more than .31 to advance into the next bracket. Well, speaking of next brackets, take a look. We got 2 more riders in the gate. On the right side of your screen right there, out of New Zealand, Ed Masters. And out of Germany, a 4-cross rider we saw last week, Benedict Last. It looks like he's doing the squat and dog again, Andrew.
That he is. Is it going to work? He's got a bit of a jump on Eddie, but he's made a bit of ground back. Eddie's a self-proclaimed 3 handicap in golf, which I'm not really going to believe in. It's not going to help him in pump track.
Well, whatever he's been doing has been working because he's only .01 behind Benedict Last. Almost a tie right out of the gate here, second bracket. So this track looks like it's going to yield some really close racing, only 1 turn. So if you're wondering what .01 of a second looks like, we can compare it to a blink of an eye, a snap of a finger. But in visual terms, it looks exactly like that.
Looks like a dead heat. These 2 riders qualified in 8th and 9th respectively. So you know it's going to be close racing, and it was just that.
So it's going to be a drag race for those guys once they get back up into the gate and switch sides. But our third bracket right now, we're going to see some riders that we didn't see last week, but we did see this one on the right side of your screen at stop number 1 in Rotorua. This is Tujoto Ariki Pene going up against Gustavo Alcojo out of Spain.
He's a BMX national champ. He should have some very good skill. A little bit of a bonk and losing some time there. These guys are neck and neck coming into the finish line.
Well, it looked like, there you go, we have it. Gustavo out of Spain crossing the finish line. Another really tight heat. 0.11 separating these two guys.
It's great seeing them here at Crankworx. We haven't seen any of Gustavo before this in any of these Crankworx events. Like you said, we've seen Tujoto in Rotorua, so he's back for some more action. So these two are going to have to go back, switch lanes, and then take each other on again.
Well, take a look at this guy in the gate right now. Adrian Lerone, the guy who won here just a year ago. You know he wants to do it again. Here's what it looked like last year.
Adrian Lerone on home soil, but against none other than Cheney Guinet, also from France. Adrian had a host of seconds before this race, and my word, did he put it down when he needed to. And he would go home in front of home crowd with a gold medal.
Now, we don't even have to ask him that very obvious question. How did it feel to win here on home soil? You can see it all on his face right there. This is a guy you don't see break character too often. But he's looking in good form here in Leger. Adrian Lerone on the right, Mason Bryant out of New Zealand on the left.
Mason known a little bit more for his dirt jumping than his pump track. Will he be able to hold close enough to Adrian going into that second heat? Adrian is riding pretty flawlessly till now.
Oh, wow, look at that. Well, that's going to be a good size deficit. 0.48 is what Mason Bryant will have to make up when they switch sides. Adrian Lerone looking on point, but think back to last week. He looked flawless, and then he kind of started to falter later on in the rounds. It's all about pacing yourself.
Yeah, he was out the gate very quick and clean. Almost doing a bit of a nose bonk so you can get the back wheel over the roller there to get some forward momentum. That turn is going to play a factor coming down the later heats, though. I just feel if it gets a bit more bumpy or a few ruts start developing, those guys are really committing to that turn cam, which they have to.
It is the turn. There's only one turn on this course, so you better get it right. So Adrian Lerone turned his name yellow. Now we got to explain to you what we're looking at here on these brackets. The rider who has the advantage going into their second round, their name is lit up in yellow. And we can't assume that you all watched last week. We can't explain enough that they have no chain on. So right now, Thomas Slavic against Pierrick Lanes. Now I'm sure the French crowd is going to be cheering for the rider on the right side of your screen.
The 2016 King of Crankworx, Thomas Slavic. Can't even get my words out tonight. Like we said, it's a very short track, so any little advantage you take into the next heat will be really, really crucial.
Well, no big surprises there, Thomas Slavic. This has got to be his main event here. He's done so well in the past, putting a 0.21 on Pierrick Lanes. Now, Slavic, not on the podium last week. He had troubles, so you know he's going to be looking to get back onto top form.
So these guys are using a little different technique to our two favorite ones from Slippery Salmon and Sitting Dog, Squatting Dog. They're actually choosing to hop into that downslope. It's quite steep, Cam, so if they get a good hop, it gives them a bit of momentum.
I think we're going to need to have a new animal-inspired starting technique name. This is maybe the hopping rabbit.
Nice.
The grasshopper.
Well, we've talked about Lemoyne a lot. Coming off wins in dual speed and style just under a week ago. Can he take the momentum into pump track? Wow, what a great start by him. No small feet in those pink pants as well. He's not letting them slow him down. But we got a little bit of a comeback by Alejandro.
Wow. Alejandro Alcohor out of Spain, only 0.04 behind Thomas Lemoyne, a guy who's won these events more times than we can even mention. Now, it's great to see fresh faces out here. Alejandro Alcohor, like you mentioned, coming from the BMX background. Now, pump track is exactly what this guy trains for, so no surprises there that he's close to Lemoyne. But Lemoyne, I mean, look at this guy go.
Lemoyne was really hot out the gate, but Alejandro, he came hot down the back straight, and that BMX background really paid it to his strengths.
So Lemoyne, one of the only riders out here who competes in slopestyle, can podium there. He also competes in pump track, and sometimes he decides to put his hat in the ring for dual speed and style. But right now looking to be on point in the pump track. But take a look at this guy, Cheney Gounet. Victorious just a week ago, looking to repeat, carry that momentum that's still fresh in his mind.
Sylvain, our BMX World Champion, crowned only a few weeks ago. We saw him for the first time in Innsbruck, had a good showing. He was qualified in 7th versus Cheney's 10th. So Cheney's not at the best qualifying. Great start from Cheney Gounet though. Can he keep the momentum going through this first turn? First and only turn. Then we've only got a few weaves and rollers to the finish. Wow, Sylvain has really put the heat down that back straight.
Look at that, Sylvain Andre, the reigning BMX World Champion, putting .05 on last week's champion, Cheney Gounet. It's an honor to have such a deep talent pool out here from so many different backgrounds, bringing BMX together with mountain biking. Mountain bikers coming from downhill, coming from slalom, all different avenues, even slope style. This is definitely the great equalizer out here on this pump track with no chain.
Sylvain's having a great time out. You can see how much fun he's having here. It's a new sport for him here at Crankworx.
There's a look right now. Sylvain Andre turning his name yellow against Cheney Gounet. We've got one more bracket to go before we switch sides and do it all over again. And that bracket looks a little something like this. A guy we had out in Innsbruck who actually was a bracket breaker, took out some heavy hitters out of Poland, Marcin Rott on the left side of your screen, going up against Luca Cometi out of the United States.
That he did. Luca Cometi came out flying and qualified in 2nd position. Marcin Rott, though, one for taking down the big names. Can he do it tonight? It won't be enough in this first round.
Luca Cometi by .3, so Marcin Rott, this is not what we saw from him last week. He was knocking people out. Let's see if he can make up that .3 when they switch sides. And there we go. We've done all of our brackets right now, so it's about time to do that. Get everybody back up to the top, switch sides. The people who are not illuminated in yellow have to beat their opponent by more than they were beat by in run number 1. That's the way this format works. Only one can advance from each round. You see that? They'll go into the round of 8 column, facing the winner of the heat beneath them. Well, this is the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. We're switching courses, getting them dropping in again right after the break.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Leger Bike Park, the best bike park in Europe. Well, you curious where that best bike in Europe that best bike park in Europe is that we speak of? We're gonna zoom right in from space. This is where we're hanging out this week, right in the middle of another set of mountains, similar to what we were doing last week, but this one has so many trails.
It is easily the biggest mountain bike playground in Europe. Part of the famous Porte du Soleil, 3 mountain bike dedicated lifts, and my word, you can go from here in France all the way over into Switzerland, where they hosted some of the World Cup races in Champry, come all the way back, have lunch in another country. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, bring your passport if you're going riding here in Leger. It's hard to even wrap your mind around how much riding there is here. So if you call yourself a mountain biker and you got some free time on your hands, and you got some money for a plane ticket, or if you're local, drive out here. You can't beat this place, it's insane. And hopefully for the rest of the riders, this is somebody that they can beat, because right now, based off of seating, he's looking pretty unbeatable. Now, a little trip down memory lane. Why is this guy unbeatable today? Well, he's not just a new fresh face on the tour. This guy has triumphed in the past. Walk us through this,
No,
Andrew.
he came out swinging in the hometown of Rotorua in New Zealand. And wow, we saw a mistake from Adrian, but he went on to take a gold medal. Almost a small, unheard of name in mountain biking then.
So he's tasted victory. You know that he's not going to settle for anything less than first place, but a little bit of a disappointment last week.
Yeah, it was not what he came out to Innsbruck to do. He came out and he was taken out early in the round of pump track.
So Keegan Wright has tasted blood on home soil in the past. Didn't make it where he wanted to last week. A chance for some redemption right now.
So Brendan Freekhoff on your left, Keegan Wright on your right. Keegan with the advantage, 0.31. That's a big advantage on the short track. Brendan really needs to give all he has in pump track to have any chance.
Oh, Brendan going as hard as he possibly can, but with a deficit to make up, it's not going to be enough. Brendan Fairclough will hit the showers as Keegan Wright, your top qualifier today, moves on into the next bracket.
So that's all he rode for Brendan Fairclough. Nice to see him out here. He's focusing on downhill, but he's come to pump track. He's made it to the final 16. Have a little bit of fun before he gets serious on the downhill.
Well, we might as well savor this. This is the last time we're going to be able to see Brendan Fairclough on our screen tonight. Take advantage of an opportunity to watch this guy ride a bike, right?
Yeah. Keegan is very, very committed here and so aggressive down that last straight.
Yeah, Keegan Wright looking on point. In the next bracket, he will face the winner of this next heat, which we have in the gate right now. This is Ed Masters, who you're looking at, against Benedikt Last, the German 4-cross champ. Now, Ed Masters only has 1/100th of a second to make up.
So 2 different techniques out to start. This is a dead heat from the first round. So what is it going to be? The man who crosses the finish line first is going to go on to face Keegan Wright.
Oh,
Eddie Masters looking good, but isn't enough. No!
Oh, another tight heat, but Ed Masters, who needed to make up 0.01, loses another 0.05. That'll be the night for Ed Masters. So 2 entertaining riders down. But when you're going up against a rider like Benedikt Last, you got to be psyched on being so close.
Well, your favorite technique, the squatting dog versus...
I love it.
What are we talking? Which is the other one called?
We got so many now. We got the squatting dog, the slippery salmon, the hopping rabbit.
Okay, the hopping rabbit. I forgot which one we've coined there.
Yo,
So Eddie was looking good. Just Benedikt had some good momentum coming to that final straight.
look at that. Oh, that's a great view of how incredibly close 0.05 of a second is. So with Ed Masters out, Benedikt Last will go up against Keegan Wright in the next bracket. But let's move things along to our next heat here.
Yeah, we don't know a lot about Gustavo. He's from Spain, BMX national champion.
Well, we know that he has what it takes right now to put some time on our New Zealand athlete.
And he's doing just that. He's got a little lead in that first turn already. And all he needs to do is keep that wheel ahead. He does just that. So we're going to see more of this guy. We're going to get to know him a little bit during Crankworx.
Yeah, you get these riders coming from the BMX world. We may have never heard of them, but they make a name for themselves real quick out here at Crankworx pump track events. So there's a lot of different ways of pumping. The manual is a chosen method. Explain to us what a manual is.
Yeah, so he's going to drive that back wheel down the backside of the roller, keep the front wheel up. Man, he's got very good technique.
Through the finish line. So Tuhoto We'll see him hopefully back in New Zealand next year. But look at who we got in the gate right now. Adrien Lerone.
Last year's king of Crankworx. Not getting all the points he needed, Cam. I mean, he's really, up to his standard, he's below it. He's not getting all the points he needs. And as you see, he's down in 5th in the standings of the king of Crankworx.
He's another one of those guys who never settles for anything shy of first place. And he thrives under these circumstances on home soil. So I would not bet against this man right now.
No, he's got a .48 advantage. That is a lot to claw back in a short track like this. He only needs to keep it smooth and consistent because he knows he's got half a second lead here. Can Mason do it? No, it's not going to be enough. He's going to hit the showers a little bit early tonight. But Adrien Lerone is doing what he needs to do to advance.
So Adrien Lerone moving out of this bracket. He'll meet up with Gustavo Alcojo out of Spain in the next heat. But no surprises here. Look how smooth and precise Adrian's looking today.
That he is. Always looks very clean, very consistent rider. And like we saw last year, before he got that win, he had a host of second places, and that is testament to how consistent and smooth and flawless he is.
Look how close they get to these gates right here. It's such a razor's edge. Look, a little style over the finish line. He was not sweating that heat one bit. Well, as Adrien Lerone cracks a smile, he moves into the next round. It's about time we take a look at our current brackets. Adrien Lerone will be going up against Spain's Gustavo Alcojo Ramos. Keegan Wright will go against Benedict Last. That will be a pretty tough heat. Both strong riders. Keegan looking pretty unbeatable today, but as we say in Pump Track, it's the most unpredictable event. Anything can happen.
Yeah, it really can. I mean, there's such a small area to make mistakes in, and anything can happen, and often does.
Especially on this course, you're seeing .11 as a relatively larger gap. We've already seen close to a tie. We've already seen 1/100th of a second separating two riders. Right now, Pierrick Lanes versus Thomas Slavik out of the Czech Republic.
And exactly that, just a small slip of the pedal or braking a little bit too much, and that's all she rode in this race. So you've got to be so damn clean.
Thomas Slavik by .04. We'll see him moving into the next round.
That's all she rode for Pierrick Lanes.
So take a look at this replay. What makes Slavik such a force?
So Tomek Slavik comes from a four-course background, but he's got no chain to deal with. So out the start, he's opted for the hop into the backside and pushing down that steep start ramp. Little hop into the turn there as well. Man, he's so close to those gates. That's going to be interesting coming down these final few rounds.
It's so interesting in this form of racing. Usually see such strong riders like Slavik just basically relying on their leg strength to get them out of the gate. But all that strength comes into play when they're generating speed in those rollers. You can actually pump out of those berms to get a good final drive. And with only one berm on this entire course, that berm means so much. So Thomas Slavik right now moving into the next round. Who will he face? It'll either be Thomas Lemoyne or this man right here, a new face to Crankworx, Alejandro Alcojo out of Spain.
And he's in within touch. He's only 0.04 behind Thomas Lemoyne, the man that won dual speed in style last week, so he's high on confidence. Doesn't have a lot to work with here in the final. What is it going to be? Those pink pants. You better ride fast if you're wearing pants like that, but is it going to be enough? It looks a bit... Oh! Well, my calculations... There we go. I thought it was the other way around. I was getting excited there they would have a dead heat.
What a
the other way around. Really close though.
Lap. But Thomas Lemoyne, the guy who won dual speed style last week, deciding not to compete in that, saying that track isn't really his style. He needs to focus on pump track and slope style. Looks like it's a good choice. He's fresh out there today.
Yeah, he did just enough. He had a little bit of an advantage and then literally replicated that in round 2. 0.04 and then 0.04 again.
Well, we're going to go straight down and speak with one of our top racers. Adrien Lerone's got a headset on right now. Adrien, I got a question for you, man. it must have felt amazing to win on home soil last year. Now, being back here a year later, does it motivate you having friends and family in the crowd, or is it more pressure? Does it make it more difficult?
Oh man, for sure it's big pressure, but at the same time I really want to do well in front of my family and my friends. So I'm feeling good. I will try to repeat the win tonight.
Right on. So who are you looking at when you look at the brackets? Who are you most worried about facing as you move through these rounds?
You know, it's such a short track, so it's super tight, and I think everybody can be dangerous. We already saw in the past that you can lose against anybody because we are all in the same second. So I'm not watching too much the other guys, and I'm trying to push it like hell. And that's
there
it.
you go, Adrian. Well, thanks for your time, man. Ride your own race, and good luck out there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, there we go. Adrian Lerone seems to have his head in the right place right now. It's nice to get in that head and get a little bit of insight into what makes him tick. Take a look at our brackets currently.
Well, he says he's not looking, but if he goes through, he's going to meet none other than Thomas Lemoyne in the semifinals, which would be a tough matchup. But he said it correctly. We're looking at who qualified where and who's behind. But we're splitting hairs.
Sometimes it's too much to think about. Ride your own race, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's riding their bike next to you. Look at that. That was the best example of the hop and rabbit we've seen so far.
That was Chanigan net with the advantage. But Sylvain is so fast down this back straight. Wow, and he pulls it back. Even after that great start from Chanigan net. We need to see that in the later rounds. Sylvain, not always needing the best start, but man, he's fast down the back straight.
Well, you don't become a BMX world champion by accident, but you don't learn the hop and rabbit by racing BMX. Look at that, perfectly executed perfectly executed example of something we named a ridiculous name just because it's fun.
Yeah, well, I'm going to claim that you named it, but it is a great technique because he's a little bit more delayed on the start, but he gets a real big drive down that start ramp.
I don't know where he made that time up. It's all about that back berm.
Well, we might have to go for the UCI rule on that sleeve of his. I don't know if that's the 3-inch rule or whatever it is. It looks pretty lycra.
So one Frenchman down out of our very, very deep talent pool of French riders out here. But right now it's all about Poland versus USA.
Luca Camedi, big hop into that roller there. He's carrying good speed. He's got an advantage here, 0.3 ahead. All he needs to do is keep that wheel ahead of Marcin. He does just that.
So
well,
close.
Actually, he doesn't in technicality there.
Poland's Marcin Rock crossing the finish line first, but not enough to upset the differential held by Luca Camedi. Luca Camedi out of the USA will advance on to the next round.
Man, these races are going to be so close, these next few rounds. We've got 8 guys through to the next round, and they are so evenly matched.
Now, I have to say it, I've been thinking it the whole time. Is this the tightest racing we've seen in any Crankworx pump track since we've been doing this?
I think that's fair to say. If you're already seeing those sort of margins of 0.01, 0.04, things like that in the round of 16, and now we're going to the round of 8 and then the semi, so who knows what the finals are going to show us.
So very balanced courses here. So big tip of the hat to the course builders out there for somehow cracking the code on how to make 2 mirror image courses match up so evenly. Keegan Wright will be going up against Benedict Last once we get back into the men's category. But right now it's time to put the spotlight on the women. And the girl who the spotlight is on most of the time, climbing up into the start gate right now, Jill Kintner.
Our RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge here in 2018. It's round 3 of the Crankworx World Tour already, Cam. Time is just flying.
It's because we're having fun.
That we are. We spoke to Jill earlier. She really thrives under pressure, but it's because she prepares for it. It's not just something she was born with. I think she's born with a bit of it. She doesn't give herself that much credit, but she works on it day in and day out.
Yeah, some riders definitely run the other way when they feel pressure, but Jill Kintner, like you said, absolutely thrives on it. When it comes to fight or flight, she decides to fight. She loves these situations. And the one who's been giving her the run for her money the most, Keilani Hines, well, we'll see if we're gonna have those two facing off again. A little deja vu from last week and from stop number 1 in Rotorua. But first, she's going to have to get past the French rider, Leah Wheel.
These ladies are locked and loaded. But it's not a clear path for Jill to the finals. On such a short track, you can't make any mistakes. She's looking ahead already, though. Just has to ride safe and consistent and not make mistakes.
Jill Kittner crossing the finish line first by 0.71 over France's Leah Wheel. So Jill Kittner starting out, putting the right foot forward here in round number 3, looking to make it a hat trick. Wouldn't it be something if she could win all 4?
Both those riders opting for your hop. There's such a steep downslope. You get it, the higher you go, the more momentum you're going to take down that start ramp.
Jill Kittner doubling into the berm.
Her cornering technique is really flawless. Obviously coming from a BMX background, but she is working on her mountain biking skills day in, day out. Husband like Bryn Atkins, one of the best mountain bikers that ever lived when it comes to turning a bike.
Without a doubt. You know that they definitely exchange skill sets when they're riding back at home in Washington. But our next heat in the gate, on the right side of your screen out of Canada, Via Verbeek against Anna Newkirk.
Yeah, we've been looking her up. We don't know a hell of a lot about her, but coming from the junior downhill background, got some very good results in the IXS series. Can she keep Via Verbeek honest here? Via bouncing back from injury back in Rotorua. Via will go on to take a lead into the next round.
By 0.31. Now Via Verbeek, definitely one of the front runners when it comes to the Queen of Crankworx titles, which, if we haven't mentioned it yet, is the prize at the end of the season. You earn points from all the events you compete in. So Via competing in downhill, slalom, pump track, looking on point here.
That she is. Very cool, calm, and collected. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes on to the later rounds, and maybe she gets to match up Jill. We can see a bit of an upset.
So watching the women's category here, you're probably wondering where the third member of our team is, one of our favorite women, Michaela Gatto. Unfortunately, she was taking advantage of all the amazing trails out here, had a little bit too much fun. Let's zoom in on that X-ray. Top of your screen is what a healthy acromioclavicular joint looks like. On the bottom, that's what a 5th degree separation of the AC joint looks like.
Yeah, shame. We hate to see this. She was out doing a photo shoot, and she had a bit of a technical difficulty on the bike, and it threw her over the bars. So she's playing it safe. She's knocked her head and also done her collarbone.
So send your get well soon messages to @Michaela Gatto on Instagram. Hopefully we'll have her back soon. I guess that's what happens when you rip every opportunity.
So another junior in the gate here. Matilda Bernard, Lara Bretthauer. Oh, good hop there, gaining good momentum there. This is fast down this final straight cab.
Well, Laura Bretthauer crossing, well, it looks like, okay, Matilda Bernard winning this heat over Laura Bretthauer. And Laura, she had a 4th place last week, so just off the podium.
She would be looking to do one better, but with that start, she's got a lot of work to do in the next round. Matilda showing experience beyond her age there.
So this will be the first time we see Keilani Hines out of the USA dropping in for a heat. And we got to remind you, this is, I mean, we can call her the closest thing to a capable rider to beat Jill Kittner. Here's her Instagram story from Rotorua, taking advantage of the fact that Rotorua has a BMX track, getting a little bit of training in once the airplane set down on the runway. But so close for her, the first 2 stops here. She competes in dual slalom also, going for those valuable Queen of Crankworx points.
And she'd qualified 2nd in pump track. She would go on to get 2nd in the finals against none other than Jill Kittner. She really wants to shake that 2nd place. It's almost a curse now.
2nd place was probably fun in round number 1 in Rotorua, but when it happened again in Innsbruck, and she's so close to that top step of the podium, let's see if she can learn from the first 2 stops.
Caught sleeping a bit out of the start there, though. Steffi, coming from a racing background, she's doing a little bit less racing and more adventure and trips, though. And Kalani has really pulled it out on that final straight.
Keilani Hines, 0.48 over the 5-time national champion from Germany, Steffi Marth. So Keilani Hines, I mean, this is just deja vu from the first 2 stops, putting half-second gaps on her competitors, making it all the way into facing the champ, Jill Kintner. We're gonna have to wait and see if history repeats itself.
Bit slow at the gate there, but she was calm, cool. She knew she had a little bit of track to make up that time that she lost out of the gate. And the collision course is on par here. Keilani Hines and Jill Kintner can go through their brackets unscathed. We will see them in the gold medal matchup later.
Well, take a look at our women's bracket right now. The names that are lit up in yellow mean they have the advantage. And once we get that on the screen, you can take a look. At the top of the list right here, we got Jill Kintner in yellow. At the very bottom of the list, we have Keilani Hines also in yellow. This is reminiscent of the first 2 stops where they met up in the final round. This could potentially happen again if they both stay on point. Keilani Hines will have another chance to take out Jill Kintner. Jill Kintner will have a chance to make it 3 in a row. But let's move it on over to the men right now. Keegan Wright against Benedict Last.
Gustava, Adrian Laurent is going to be a tight matchup. Thomas Slavik against Thomas Lone. If the previous one was going to be a tough one, that's going to be Humdinger. And then Sylvain, our BMX world champion, will go against 2nd seed Luca Committee.
Well, that man right there, Keegan Wright, the top qualifier from our seeding earlier on for this event, going up against Germany's Benedict Last, coming from that 4-cross background. But Keegan, the man to beat right now.
He does look confident. He's joking around up there, but it seems like he's very happy with how he's riding.
Squatting dog looks silly, works well.
It definitely looks silly. I like the hop more than the squatting dog at this place. Keegan working that last straight.
Oh, by 3/100ths of a second, Keegan Wright crosses the finish line first.
Wow. And there's 8 guys here, and we've seen those times. Can you imagine semifinals and finals?
I would imagine we'll see a tie at some point out here today. We saw it happen once in Innsbruck, and the times are definitely on average tighter here in Leger.
So Keegan did not have a good start there. Really made a mistake at the start and through the first roller. So he did well to gain back some time there.
Yeah, look at that's one of the tightest margins we've seen right there. Just going to show, if you make a mistake, that could mean turning yourself from a competitor into a spectator real quick. Keegan and Benedict reminiscing over that run, and I'm sure they're gonna have their eyes peeled for this one. All eyes on Adrian Laurent against Spain's Gustavo Alcajor Ramos.
Adrian, your number 4 seed. Gustavo, your number 5 seed. This will be a tight matchup. Neck and neck out the gate there. Both nose managing to hop into the first roller. Tight to the first turn. This is where it all counts, this final straight. Who's it gonna be?
Oh, jeez. 0.26 for Adrian Laurent. This guy, I mean, we talked to him earlier. His head seems to be in the right place. He's taking his friends and family being in the crowd as motivation to do well. He's got so much experience out here from behind the 8 ball and ahead. Definitely knowing exactly what to do in every situation.
He's strong down this final straight. 0.26 is a very nice advantage to have going into your next round on such a short and tight track.
Look at how much speed they have after they cross the finish line. I feel like people standing right there better watch out. Well, there's what our brackets look like right now. Keegan Wright has the advantage over Benedict Last. We just saw Adrian Laurent accomplish the advantage over Spain's Gustavo Alcajor Ramos. So the winner of each of those will face each other. We'll have to see what that will be when they get back up to the top and switch sides. But right now, it's all about 2 people who have been in the gate against each other countless times. Thomas Slavik out of Czech Republic on the left, Thomas Lemoyne out of France on the right.
Yeah, veteran 4-cross racer. He knows all about being in the gate. Thomas Lemoyne, cool and calm Frenchman, doing well in dual speed and style, slopes down, having a laugh out here with his pink pants. But this is no laughing matter coming down the final straight.
Thomas Lemoyne,
wow,
ahead by 0.24 over Thomas Slavik, the 2016 King of Crankworx. Now, Thomas Lemoyne, when he's looking like this, we used to say it a couple years ago, we go, I think it's impossible for this guy to make a mistake.
He's looking clean. And I mean, you better be performing, because from what I can see, that bike matches the pants as well.
Taking into consideration that Lemoyne has been riding all day on the slopestyle course, doing tricks very high in the air at a very high degree of difficulty, yet he still has energy to do this, go and put a few tenths of a second on Thomas Slavic.
I'm impressed with his strength and his fitness and obviously his technique to put that margin into Thomas Slavic, who's just known for his power and aggressiveness.
We just saw that fan in the background flashing the camera, which reminds me there's definitely a code of ethics when it comes to being a fan, and this is what it looks like. Take a look at this.
The following are scientifically recognized methods of showing support for your favorite rider. Air horn, vuvuzela, novelty homemade signage, Instagram hashtag, cowbell, thunder stick, screaming. However, studies have shown that fan nakedness has a detrimental effect on athlete performance. And that's why you need this. But you can't get it here. It's only available on site at the best mountain bike destinations on planet Earth.
Don't be naked, fans. Get that official Crankworx merchandise provided by Fox. Grab a beer, cheer on your favorite riders out here at the 4 stops of the Crankworx World Tour. Right now, we're in the middle of the round of 8 in the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. You see those names illuminated in yellow, they have the advantage.
Yeah, we've got one more round. Sylvain Andre against Luca Comedi. The last of our first heat here. 8 riders still here. Luca Comedi coming off almost a surprise second place qualifying. Sylvain having a great time out here. BMX background. But Luca's not going to let that stop him. Neck and neck through the first and only turn. Luca pushing hard. He's making a bit of a bubble there.
Luca Comedi crosses the finish line first by 0.13 over, let's remind you, the reigning BMX world champion, France's Sylvain Andre.
Great run by Luca. Backing up that second place qualifier. Great start by him. Good hop into both those. Downslope of the start ramp and that first roll. He's gaining good momentum into that first turn. Here's our BMX man. He'll know a thing or two about pumping and manualing a roller. That is for sure. I'm not sure what I think about this attire that he has, though.
Well, we got the race jersey against the casual t-shirt. I suppose he's got his sponsors' logos on there. But it's amazing. It's a treat to have a reigning BMX world champion out here at Crankworx. Big smile on his face. He seems to be having a great time, even though his opponent, Luca Comedi, just illuminated his name in yellow.
Yeah, so for the fans at home, anyone in yellow, he has the advantage going into the next heat of this round of 8.
Well, take a look at this backdrop right here. I don't know how you can spend a week here and not enjoy yourself, but all the riders have their own ways of enjoying their time in Leger. Isabeau Couturier, for example, she loves this place. Let's hear from her why she loves this place and why she thinks pump track is so important for the sport.
So right now we are at the top of Montchéry. It's the activity I do like every single time I come here. I go up the hill and I go for a little run to get ready for all the action of the week. In Leger I will be doing the dual slalom. It will be my first time ever riding this event. And I will do again the pump track. It will be my 3rd time. I do it like every single time I can. So I really expect to have a lot of fun and just ride with the other girls and really enjoy this event. I think pump track for girls, if you're like just a beginner, you just want to have like your first events at Crankworx, it's the easiest things to do because there is no jump, you can roll everything. Like it's super safe, you can go the speed you want and you will be like with pro as well, giving you some super tips. If you come to Leger, it's a big show, riders do crazy stuff, it's a super good time. But also if you are a mountain bike rider, you can just take your bike and go around in Les Portes du Soleil. You have like every single kind of terrain, tracks, So it's definitely a good time. It's mostly sunny. You have a lake if you want to go swim after your ride, and then you go straight to the bar, have a beer with your friend.
So Isabeau enjoying her time out here in the mountains. And, you know, I mean, she said it right there. What an amazing form of competition. We got to tell you that anybody can come out here and sign up and potentially make it into the finals, the webcast against some of the best riders in the world. And here's what it looks like right now for the round of 8.
Jill Kittner illuminated, so she'll have an advantage. And we go on to Anna versus Via. Via with the advantage. Matilda, the junior, with an advantage as well. And then Kehlani Hines at the bottom. They're on a collision course towards her nemesis, Jill Kittner.
So Jill Kittner, the champ, treating every one of these heats as a final. But I'm sure it won't be until we get into that last round. If we see her and Kehlani Hines, a flip switch is in her head. You know, she turns into a different competitor when she's really being pushed.
You hit the nail on the head there. With a short course, you can't make any mistakes. You've got to treat every race like a final. You've got to get focused. You've got to prepare for it. Jill Kittner will advance you. She just needed to keep the wheel ahead.
The advantage being 0.89 over France's Leah Wheel. Jill Kittner moving into the next round. Very familiar sight from Jill Kittner. Now the question, who will she face? Take a look back at the winning margin right here. Jill Kittner definitely putting the hammer down and focusing, making sure she doesn't make any mistakes, but so much wiggle room there.
That is a big margin in pump track. A lot more than we've seen in some of the other heats. There is a couple of bike lengths in that.
So who will we see put the pressure on Jill Kittner? Next heat in the gate. Anna Newkirk against Via Verbeek. Anna needs to make up a 0.31 deficit.
A tall order. Via coming back from injury that she sustained in Rotorua. We saw in Innsbruck. Starting to find some of that form and confidence she had in the beginning of the season. She knows she's just got to keep it clean here, Cam, really.
Pretty tight.
And you'll be able to look over out of the corner of your eye. You'll see where your competitor is. You shouldn't be looking, but it's there.
Well, look at that. Anna Newkirk crossing the finish line first, but of course it's not going to be enough. Via Verbeek playing her cards smart, taking it easy in that round. She'll advance and go up against Jill Kittner. Well, moving things right along, left side of your screen with a 0.75 to make up, it's Laura Bretthauer. She had a 4th place last week, going up against Mathilde Bernard.
Mathilde had a great first heat. The youngster coming out swinging ahead pump track. Nice technique, manuals and hops here. So on your left hand side of the screen, all she needs to do is keep that wheel ahead. She does just that. What a great ride. The French young woman in front of a home crowd here. She's all smiles.
Well, she just knocked out Laura Bretthauer, and Bretthauer with a handful of 4th places. She's been trying to get onto that podium. It's not going to be today. Mathilde Bernard moving on into the next round, and as you see on your screen right now, she will face the winner of this next round between Kehlani Hines, who has the advantage, against Steffi Marth. Well, there they are, right side of your screen, with the advantage out of the USA, Kehlani Hines, and with 0.48 to make up Germany's 5-time national champion, Steffi Marth.
She needs to come out swinging. Kehlani has half a second advantage.
So a lot of room to work with here.
Turn, but this is where Kehlani comes on fire down the last straight.
Kehlani Hines crossing the finish line first once again. Add those 2 differentials up to make a 0.97. Steffi Marth, great showing. That's going to be the end of her night. She can become one of those classic Ligier fans right now with the Vuvuzelas and the Gorgonzolas and the cowbells. Because Kehlani Hines moves into the next round, she'll be going up against Mathilde Bernard. Jill Kittner against Via Verbeek. That should be a good one. Now, Andrew, whether you're a commentator like us right now or you're one of the riders out there, we kind of go off of this unwritten law that you don't read the comments, especially on Pink Bike, because you might see something that you don't like. But of course, our colleagues with production decided to go there and sift them out for us. Take a look at this. Stupid Pope is in Geneva at the moment. If I get stuck in traffic and miss this, nobody wants to miss it if they're coming out here. But
and
we got a full conversation
one
here.
of the best Popes ever. Well, what's great is these guys are such super fans of Crankworx. Then Freeride Jerk 888 says, well, stream it on your phone.
So if you're trying to make it here from Geneva and you're having a hard time because of the Pope-related traffic, just grab your phone, log on to crankworx.com. You can watch the live stream. Don't miss the action. Even if you're not here, you can still get involved. This is the first day of competition out here, round number 3 of the Crankworx World Tour. We're doing pump track. Keegan Wright leading the charge for the men. His name is lit up in yellow right now over Benedict Last. Benedict Last needs to make up the differential if he's going to move into the next round, but Keegan kind of looking a bit unstoppable right now, but only a .03 separating these guys. So one tiny mistake out of Keegan and his night will be over.
He's got to have a better start than he did in the first heat.
Oh,
that's a better one, not the best. But Keegan does come alive down the final straight. We've seen a few guys that really are fast and strong down here. And that's what Keegan is doing right now.
Man. Doubling the last set of rollers. Keegan Wright doing exactly what he needed to do. He barely had an advantage right there. But he, like you said, he came alive in that final straightaway.
He's going so fast. He's able to push through and double the last 2 rollers. Not a lot of riders can do that.
We've seen Adrian Lerone doing that in his heats, putting a little style over those last 2 rollers, treating it as a finish line jump. Take a look at Keegan right now doing the same.
This is where he makes some serious pace. And I mean, he's pushing down through there, holding it low. He's going so fast.
Keegan Wright still the man to beat out here at stop number 3 in Leger. Moving on to the next round. But look at this, a guy we've been talking about all night for good reason. The guy who won here a year ago. On the left side of your screen, France's Adrian Lerone, the winner from the first round here by .26 over Gustavo out of Spain.
Gates or drop. That is a neck-and-neck start for both these men. Adrian, a little bit behind there going into the first turn. He needs to step it up down this final straight. Wow, he's behind, but he's still going to advance. Great race, and you can see how happy he is. Whew. He breathes a sigh of relief there after crossing the line second in that second heat. But he will advance.
So there we go. In the semifinals, it's going to be Keegan Wright going up against Adrian Lerone. That's going to be a heater right there. Last year's champ against this year's top qualifier, and a man who looks to be unstoppable at the moment. But before we get to the next set of men, let's talk to a lady who also looks like she could potentially be unstoppable out here today, Keilani Hines.
Keilani, it's great seeing you do so well at the first round in Road Tour. I'm sure you were excited and ecstatic with the second place. You went on to get second in Innsbruck. Are you now looking a little bit further ahead, trying to get that gold medal, and what are you going to do tonight to try achieve that?
Yeah, I definitely want to win. I'm not mad about second, but I know I could get on the top. So tonight I'm just going to hopefully get out of the gate fast and pump hard.
Well, we've been watching, we're looking back at some of your runs, and maybe that is where you can make up some time. How much pressure do you feel going against Jill, or do you have a little less pressure because you know technically you're the underdog?
Yeah, I mean, I do have less pressure because I don't have like this long history like she does, but I don't know, I feel more pressure in the rounds before the finals, and once I get to the finals, I kind of just like relax and let it go. But I'm just trying to stay calm because that's how you have to race pump track. It's just calm and smooth.
Well, thanks for that awesome insight and all the best for the rest of the racing.
Thank you.
Well, it's great watching her race. It's amazing how hard she's able to push herself in the finals, but it's also amazing what that does to Jill Kintner. It just lights a fire underneath her. Well, next heat in the gate right now, left side of your screen, in the pink pants, Thomas Lemoyne out of France. The crowd will be behind him. And on the right-hand side, the 2016 King of Crankworx, out of the Czech Republic, Thomas Slavik.
Thomas Lemoyne out like a rocket out of that start. Little bit ahead going into the first turn. Slavik needs to pull it back here, but can he?
Oh! Look at this.
This is close, but Thomas Lemoyne will go on. That is a big win against a big name of Thomas Slavik. Thomas Slavik will be disappointed. He'll be going home early tonight.
Lemoyne definitely having a difficult path through these brackets, facing tough, fast, big-name riders in all of his heats so far. He's a slopestyle rider. That is his main focus out here. We'll see him at all the stops on the Crankworx Slopestyle World Tour, including Red Bull Joyride. And if you want to be a part of the biggest, baddest slopestyle event on the planet, the spot where it all started, well, we have an opportunity for you. You can go grab yourself some VIP experience tickets, have the best seat in the house. We've got early bird pricing right now, so take advantage of it. If you want to experience something that is unexplainable, get your tickets at crankworx.com/whistler/VIP, and we'll see you in Whistler. Well, Lemoyne will be going up against the winner of this next heat, against the reigning BMX world champion out of France, Sylvain Andre, against the American Luca Cometti, who a bit of an impressive showing here in run number 1 of their heat. He's sitting with his name in yellow right now. This will be a pretty good upset and a big step for Luca Cometti.
Yeah, he came out, qualified second, but he's been showing that speed in all the heats. He's got a 0.13 advantage over the current BMX world champion.
Now, Luca Cometti, not a guy who has an entire trophy case full of Crankworx medals. So if he's able to take out the BMX world champion, he may be on pace to grabbing his first. Well, there's a good example of how to be a fan. Grab some old broken, beat-up bike parts from your garage and hit them with other broken, beat-up bike parts. Like to see this guy wearing clothes. As we said earlier, that's the biggest rule out here. So every one of these events out here at a Crankworx festival is a little battle in the grand scheme of things, which is the war of the king and queen of Crankworx overall title. There's 30 events. You can enter as many or as little as you want. If you score well, you get in the rankings, you get points. The rider with the most points for the men, the most points for the women, will be crowned king and queen. They'll take home $20,000. So big incentive to sign up for some events, even if they're not your #1 A game, which pushes a lot of these riders out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I think that's great to see. We have riders that aren't normally seen, say, in Downham. We know Adrian Long come at the end of the season, he'll go to Whistler and he might enter an Air DH, knowing that if he can get in the top 10, he's going to amass some points to go towards his overall points for the King of Crankworx, which did help him at the end of the day last year. So our reigning King Crankworx is there, Adrian Long. Slow start to the season, considering how good he is and how good he was last year.
And this whole king and queen thing, it's good for us, the viewer, because you get to see these riders stepping outside their comfort zone. But it's great for the riders, too, because they expand their skill set. And what we see a lot is riders impressing themselves, like Adrian Lerone killing it in the Air DH in Whistler last year. And I don't think anybody had, had a clue that he would be able to dominate that field.
Yeah, exactly that. So we've seen him. He's gone through and he'll face Keegan Wright already into the semi-final matchup. We're waiting to see who's going to finish ahead here in Luca Cometti versus Sylvain Andre. Who's going to go against Thomas Lemoyne? So we still got 2 French in the semi-finals here on home soil in Leger. And I love what you said about that, expanding their skill set. Someone like Adrian Lerone has come over to dual speed and style and learned tricks in the off-season to see if he can go against the people that have tricks like the slope stylists.
And that's got to be the best event when it comes to having riders step outside their comfort zone. You got racers riding as fast as they can, but having to do tricks, which isn't something that they're used to. And then you got these slopestyle guys who are learning how to rip around slalom gates for the first time. And that broadcast will be tomorrow. You're not going to miss that. So speaking of dual speed and style, if you were tuned in last week, a week ago tomorrow, that's a familiar face to you. Thomas Lemoine won the dual speed and style in Innsbruck. This is what that looked like. The guy was unstoppable. We keep saying it, he's one of the most consistent riders in the field.
Yeah, he would go up against Sam Reynolds, which was keeping him honest on the speed side, but Thomas Lemoine showing gutsy speed, and he just had the most consistent high-scoring tricks all throughout the day, and no one could go up against him and take him down. Look at that flip bar spin in the finals there to go on to take the win.
So as you can see, we're just going to keep cranking up the intensity as the week goes on. We'll have dual speed and style tomorrow. But right now, it's all about the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. That man right there who can podium in a whole host of different events out here at these festivals is looking good today. Pink pants, Andrew Needling, thoughts?
Well, they do match the bike. That's about all I can say. But if you're going to wear pink, you better show up and have your game face on, which Thomas Lemoine does.
Takes a real man to wear pink.
It does, and who's he going to go against? We don't know yet. But two French guys in the semifinals already. New Zealander Keegan Wright, who's a former winner. We have such a great field here.
Well, Sylvain Andre and Luca Cometti will be squaring up against each other. We'll find out who will be going up against Thomas Lemoine when we return. It's the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. Don't go away.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
This is Valley Hole. She's 16 years old. This is what Valley does. This is Valley's RockShox Boxer. It's a fork that's been more than 20 years in the making, which means...
Dat was nog gar niet auf der Welt.
But that doesn't matter. We built a new boxer for now. History is most important when you learn from it. The boxer is best when you ride it.
Leger Bike Park, the best bike park in Europe. Well, right smack dab in the middle of our RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. Probably the tightest racing we've seen so far this season, and perhaps in a long time. This track, a mirror image on both sides. Next heat we'll have in the gate will be the reigning BMX World Champion Sylvain Andre against America's Luca Cometti, who I believe qualified second.
That he did. Keegan Wright up at the top, qualified fastest. And you come down to Adrien Laurent, Thomas Lemoine. But Luca Cometti, can he go up against Sylvain and get that win?
Well, with the headset on right now is our top qualifier, Keegan Wright. Keegan, you're going to be going up against Adrien Laurent, the guy who won here last year. Now, you've won before too, but it's been a while. This is the best pace we've seen you on in a bit. Have you changed anything in your training regimen? You're looking on point, man.
No, haven't really changed anything in my training. Just changed up a little bit. Full-time pump track now. Nah, no, I'm just out having fun. It's always a cool event to do good in the pump track. So just out here having a ball with everyone, and the crowd's going off. So it's going to be a good night.
Sure, Keegan. Yeah, we hear that all the time. I'm just having a good time. You got a big #1 next to your name from seating. How good would it feel to get back on the top step of that podium?
Oh, there wouldn't be a better feeling. But we're all out here to win. So. You just got to have fun, and what will be, what will be.
Is there something about this track that's really vibing with you?
I don't know. I think the home straight is quite good. I kind of seem to pick up speed there, but the corners as well, I can commit to them and just try to lean in as much as I can. But the track's sick. Just all around good times, man.
You're doing something special in the last 50% of your runs, so I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want you to spoil your secrets, but keep on keeping on, man. Hopefully you'll get back to that victorious top step.
Yeah, brother, I'll be going for it. Have a good night, eh?
Right on. Good luck.
Later,
Thank you,
man.
Keegan.
See ya.
Well, there we have it. Getting in the head of the guy who's looking to get back on top. He's been there before. He wants a taste of that again.
Well, both of those men want to get back on the top step, don't they?
Yeah, I know. We got to really pump them up when we're talking directly to them, you know? You are the man. You got to win it. So we can see just this explosion of confidence in the finals if those two guys were able to face
Adrian
off.
Larong that went out early in New Zealand, stepped it up, came back. There we got a bit of head games there, Keegan Wright. Then Adrian went on second last week. Wasn't a win. Keegan Wright hasn't had the fortune that he had since 2017. So, those two there on our screen.
Well, of course, we're excited to see Adrian Larong out here at Pump Track, but we'll also see him tomorrow for dual speed and style. He's one of those riders who's a racing background, but has pushed himself to learn tricks.
We all know the French have impeccable style, but can they bring the speed? Carved into the eastern Alps of Leger, the dual speed and style track here goes down smoother than a hot croissant and shot of espresso. Round 3 of the World Tour, Crankworx Leger. Can dual speed and style world champ Jakob Wenzel put the pieces together for another victory here in France? Or will the collection of riders repping the Bleu Blanc Rouge step it up on home soil? The dual speed and style presented by Muck-Off. The world is watching. Live from Crankworx Leger, beamed directly into your brain via crankworx.com.
Well, that's tomorrow. That's dual speed and style. Picture a dual slalom course like they used to have at all the World Cups, but now picture a jump that's trickable at the top, a jump that's trickable right before the finish line. Riders squaring up, going as fast as they possibly can, and doing tricks, the harder tricks they do. The more time gets shaved off based on how many points they're able to earn on the jumps. That sounds like fun. Tune in tomorrow for dual speed and style. Well, you see that graphic at the top of the screen. It was just mentioning that the top 3 riders in our Pump Track overall series standings are all French riders. So it's a discipline that's been dominated by the French so far this season. They're looking to continue that pace right here on home soil. They're going to be tough to beat, but Keegan Wright, sitting in that top qualifying spot, is, I guess you'd have to say, officially the man to beat.
That he is. We still got 2 of those guys that you spoke of on that leaderboard. Cheney Ganay is not with us anymore, but Adrian Larong, Thomas Lemoy, they are still here, hoping to take home gold in front of a home crowd here in Leger, France.
Well, Andrew, it kind of feels like Groundhog's Day because just 1 week ago we were doing this same exact thing in a different European country. Of course, I'm talking about Innsbruck just a week ago.
I'm glad you mentioned that. What a race we had in Innsbruck. We had those 2 men you spoke about there in the Innsbruck Pump Track Challenge.
Of course, that's where the cities and the mountain converges right here, and where the best riders in the world converge for stop 2 of the Crankworx World Tour. Keilani Hines going up against Jill Kinner in the women's final. Deja vu from stop number 1.
That it was. Jill Kintner was behind, only by a little bit, coming into this final matchup here. Keilani Hines was hoping for one better than Road to Ruhr, but wasn't going to be enough, though. Jill Kintner just outclassed her with that experience in the end.
With each one of these stops, Keilani Hines gets more experience of her own. Is it only a matter of time? We're going to find out tonight if Keilani Hines can take out Jill Kintner. It was all about Adrienne Lerone last week against Cheney Gounet in the final.
So remember, Adrienne Lerone was pushing hard against Cheney, but he would go down. He would pop that rear wheel just over the roller, and that was all she rode for the evening. It was better than road to Ruhr for him, that we know. There he went out very early. So run 2, pretty much a formality. Cheney just had to stay on his bike, not do any mistakes, and he would take home the gold medal. So Adrian knew that he would cruise into the finish, accept second place, which is a lot more points that he got in the first round. And I like what you mentioned there with Keilani. The more she puts herself in that position, deals with the pressure, makes Jill really work for that win. You never know when she's going to go one better and take the gold.
So we were talking about it last week until we were blue in the face. The collision course, when you looked at the bracket last week for the women's pump track, you had Jill Kintner at the top, Keilani Hines at the bottom, and you're going, man, they might end up in the finals together if we're lucky. That's exactly what happened. We'll take a look at what we have on our hands right now, just a week later. Jill Kintner at the top, Keilani Hines at the bottom. How does that happen? Well, when Jill Kintner qualifies first and Keilani Hines qualifies second, that means 2 things. They're the top 2 riders in the field, and they could potentially meet up in the finals.
Well, exactly that. In that round of 8, Jill Kintner will go against 8th seed. If you add that up, it's a 9, and that's what you do, working through that bracket, so that because you've qualified first, you should have an easier way to the final. You've earned that right. Same as Keilani. She'll have a little bit easier than someone else in the middle of that bracket.
So Jill, earlier, when we had her for a headset interview, she was telling us that she has all these little games she plays at home for training. Is this one of them?
Well, potentially. I don't know what tricks. This might be just to pass the time. But it is hand-eye coordination, a little bit of reaction time. So I know Jill takes her training extremely, extremely serious. She thinks outside the box as well.
No, she takes it seriously like all times except for right now, I guess.
Yeah, basically. But even that, she was working on something there.
The brain's always ticking. It's a pretty mental game out here in pump track. You sit around, you wait for your run, and when you finally get up there, it's over in a matter of seconds. So no time to drift off when you finally get up there in the gate.
So these riders have got to reset here. They've got to keep warm. We've got a little bit of a delay. So that's not too bad for them. You know, they've got a bit of delay, but then they've got to keep warm.
There it is, Andrew. Rumor has it, I'm getting this in my ear right now, it's about 60 seconds away from having that next heat, which will be reigning BMX World Champion Sylvain Andre from France against the American Luca Cometti, who qualified second.
Well, let's us get back into it. We've got to get back into it. We've had a little bit break from calling these races, but I'm excited. Can Luca Cometti keep doing what he's been doing here? I mean, qualified second, he's been going through the rounds, but Sylvain Andre, whoa, current BMX world champion.
So when you're Adrienne Lerone and you have so many events to compete in at all the stops on the Crankworx World Tour, you pick up a couple tricks. Maybe you pack a little foam roller in your bag. This is how Adrienne Lerone spends his time in between heats.
Might be the smallest foam roller I've ever seen, but it is handy to have it on site here when you've taken a little bit of delay. Flush a bit of that lactic acid out of the legs because you've been sitting down. You haven't been able to spin or move them at all.
Well, no more downtime. We're back to racing. Luca Cometti was the winner from run number 1. He was 0.13 ahead of the BMX champ Sylvain Andre. So Luca Cometti killing it right now. If he's able to knock out Sylvain Andre, we'll have a pretty good upset on our hands and a lot of momentum rolling through for Luca Cometti.
Great hop from him. He's really preempting that gate and that hop. He's ahead here, and he had a good final straight the last few rounds, and he's going to do it again. He will advance.
There we go. Luca Cometti doing it. Even after a long delay, he's unshakable. He advances into the next round, knocking out Sylvain Andre from France.
Showing you that second place qualifying is no fluke. It's lovely to see a new face up there in pump track.
So that means Luca Cometti will be going up against Thomas Lemoyne. That's going to be a huge heat. Luca Cometti qualified second. Thomas Lemoyne was somewhere down there, maybe in 9th.
I think he was even worse in something like 11. So yeah, Lemoyne is really showing us that qualifying was not the way he wanted to proceed throughout the evening.
Well, I talked to him earlier. He said he kind of messed up in qualifying too, so it may not be a 100% accurate representation of his pace right now. But we'll have to wait until we see those riders square up against each other. But right now, it's all about Jill Kinner on the left side of your screen, also known as the champ, against Canada's Via Verbeek.
Yeah, the undisputed champ. She has something like 11 wins or something ridiculous and about 1,000,001 podiums.
Yeah, more than 24 medals from Crankworx Festivals in her trophy case.
Oh, and she is clean into the finish. Via, a little bit behind. That is going to be a tall order to crawl back in the second heat of this round.
So Jill Kintner by 0.78 over Via Verbeek. She does it again. We'll wait until they get up to the top and switch sides. Right now, we'll move on to our next heat in this semifinal. Keilani Hines on the right side of your screen, going up against France's Mathilde Bernard.
She impressed us in this first heat. A junior Mathilde Bernard, come out of France, going against another young, up-and-coming female rider, Keilani. Great start from Mathilde, and the hop into the backside of the manual. And she's got a little bit of a lead, but this is where Keilani has done very well down this final straight. Is she going to be able to do enough? That looks like she's down.
Whoa, this Mathilde Bernard is something special. I mean, she knocked out a really top rider who's been getting 4th places consistently, and now she just put a differential on Keilani Hines. We got to go back to the replay.
So she had a good, watch that hop into that first roller, gaining some momentum. Nice manual. So she was leading going into this first turn, and she held that lead all the way to the finish.
So this is huge news for the women's field, because we've previously just been seeing a 2-horse race between Jill Kinner and Keilani Hines, but there's a new face in town. Look at this. Out of France, Mathilde Bernard.
So the youngster coming out here for the first time, we haven't seen her in Crankworx before. She qualified in 3rd, and the times are so close. So that doesn't really mean much compared to someone like Keilani in 2nd.
Women's bracket as it stands right now looks like this. Keilani Hines, her name is not in yellow. We don't see that very often. Jill Kinner, of course, hers is.
She's got 0.24 to make up. On a short track like this, we've said it all evening, and we're going to say it till the finals. You cannot make mistakes, and that's a bit of a mistake for her.
Well, we get our next men's heat loaded into the gate. This is, of course, one we've been hyping up all night. And it's going to happen right here. Adrien Leron, the man who won 1 year ago right here in Leger against our top qualifier, Keegan Wright.
Thomas Lemoyne, way back in like 11th position. As we said, he might have had a bit of a mistake, but Luca Comedi in 2nd, and he's really been backing up that 2nd place qualifier. So Keegan Wright against Adrien Leron, your number 1 seed on the left of your screen. Keegan Wright, number 4 seed, Adrien Leron from France, here in front of a home crowd. The suspense is over. Adrien Leron with a good start. Keegan Wright, like we said, has been doing very good down this back straight. It is neck and neck, folks. We're going to have to wait for the timing on this one.
Oh, Leron through the finish line first. Not by far. 0.12 ahead of your top qualifier today, Keegan Wright. Now we're thinking back, we're kind of trying to flip through the history books, and I feel like we've had these two guys squaring up against each other in the past. In Rotorua, I believe Keegan Wright was against Adrien Leron in the finals when he won. So right now, Leron looking to make good on that from a couple years ago. So it was. Let's take a look back at a replay from that 2017 matchup between Keegan Wright and Adrien Leron.
Well, this is Keegan Wright's biggest win to date. He would come against Adrien Leron and force a mistake from Adrien down here on the final straight. Keegan would go on to take the gold medal in Rotorua. What a big win for him. The tables are turned, though, with Keegan Wright actually with a disadvantage. 0.12 behind. Not a lot in it there. Thomas Lemoyne on the left side of your screen. Yes, in the pink pants. You heard that correct. But Luca Comedi, our number 2 seed. Thomas Lemoyne seems like he was sandbagging a little bit in qualifying because he's shown way higher speed than someone that qualified in 11th.
In the pink pants, Thomas Lemoine out of France. On the red bike, Luca Cometti.
Luca Cometti has a really good hop in that first roller. But Thomas Lemoine and Luca have shown some good speed. What is it going to be? Wow, that is close.
I have no idea. I couldn't call it with eyeballs alone. Just 0.03 of a second was the gap between Thomas Lemoine and Luca Cometti. Thomas Lemoine crossed the finish line first, but Luca Cometti giving him a run for his money. Take a look at how incredibly close this race was.
We go back to the start. 2 good hops from these riders. Both of them opting to hop into the first big roller. That's a very tall roller to just ride over, so they're bunny hopping into the backside of it.
Oh, I saw a tiny little mistake there from Luca Cometti right before getting into that back berm. But look at this. Oh, Lemoine manually through the finish line, only 0.03 of a second separating these 2 guys right here. Oh, look at this. We've got a mascot for the strategy.
There we
We've got
do.
a hopping rabbit in the flesh. In the fur, I guess. I don't know. What do you call it?
I guess so. It's in the flesh for us, but he's in the fur.
A mustache, some bouncing bunny ears. Expect the unexpected in Leger.
But in all seriousness, I mean, these are the close races we said we're going to get all night. 0.03. I mean, there's nothing in it. The women are back in the gates, though. They're locked and loaded. It's all to play for here. The RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge semi-finals.
Via Verbeek wearing black on the left side of your screen. Jill Kintner, a.k.a. the champ, hanging out on the right side of your screen right now. She has the advantage. Her name is in yellow.
Matilda Bernard, a little bit of a surprise, but after seeing her ride, not really.
That's the story right now.
That is the story. I mean, Kalani really has her work cut out, but before we get to them, I think we could call Jill the GOAT as well, the greatest of all time here in Pump Track. I mean, that is safe to say. 5 airback, 0.78 to make up. She has to force a mistake out of Jill. Jill knows that she just has to keep it on 2 wheels here. 1 berm to navigate, and then it's just the final rollers. Stay on the right side of those flags, though.
And there we go. No problem for Jill Kintner. She'll add to that differential and move into the next round. Jill Kintner will be hanging out in familiar territory in the finals, but the big question right now is who will join her there? We've got this crazy thing happening where we've got Keilani Hines.
Yeah, we've been picking up Keilani Hines. Can she take down Jill Kintner? Well, we might have got a little bit ahead of us. Let's look at round 1. It's a little bit surprising to us as well. We had her just going through.
This is why we're taking this girl in the yellow jersey, that bright green jersey. This is why we're taking her so seriously. Keilani Hines is ridiculous on a pump track, yet she crossed the finish line second. Mathilde Bernard.
She is coming out to play with the big ones here. She is so small in stature here. The youngster on that Scott bicycle, she is 0.24 ahead of Keilani Hines. Keilani Hines has to have a clean race here, but she can't not afford to just lay it all on the line here. This is like a final for her.
Well, 0.24 is a lot to make up, especially on such a quick pump track.
Can she learn anything from her races against Jill, where Jill's behind and is able to step it up?
Oh, huge start for Mathilde.
Exactly that. Matilda has come out swinging with a great start. They're neck and neck. Matilda was great on the final straight. I don't think it's going to be enough from Keilani. And it's not. That is the upset of the evening.
The finish line first, but not by enough. She's still 0.2 behind when you calc in both runs. And in a huge upset, Mathilde Bernard rolls into the final against Jill Kintner. And she's casual about this whole process. She's new to the scene.
No, she's like a deer in the headlights here. She doesn't know what's going on. I think she's just excited to be in this competition, in a live broadcast. But she is riding flawlessly. Great manuals there. Both girls committed in the last berm. And it's unfortunate for Keilani. You know, we had her on the headset. Sometimes you start thinking a little bit far ahead and you're not focusing on the present. And the present was Matilda Bernhard that took her down.
Well, you don't make it into the finals unless you make it through the semifinals. And the rider who did just that, you're looking at her right there, out of France, Mathilde Bernard. I have a feeling we may be talking about her for a while if she continues showing up to these events.
That we will. She's new to it, but she is young.
So
going against Kalani Hines and taking her out already. But let's shift over to the men though, Cam. Keegan Wright, he's down against Adrian Laurent. Thomas Lemoyne, he's ahead of Luca Camedi.
Well, Adrian Laurent out of France on the left side of your screen. Keegan Wright from New Zealand. Both of these guys have won events before. Keegan Wright won against Adrian Laurent in 2017 in New Zealand. And what will the story be here today, 2018 in Leger?
A little bit of a sluggish start for Keegan, but he's so fast down the back straight. He is committed here, neck and neck. Keegan really needs to get going here to get anything on him.
Look at
Is it going to be enough? Yes, I think it will. He had to make up 0.12, and he knows it. Keegan Wright says he's having fun. Well, yeah, winning is fun.
Okay, I totally believe him right now. He's just having a blast out there, and winning each heat happens to be a side effect of all the fun he's having out there. What a celebration dance. That looked like Nikolai Rogakin after a slopestyle run right there. It's not often you see a rider come back.
So Keegan, not the best start, but he kept calm because he knows how fast he is down this back straight. Gaining some momentum here. And this is where he just comes alive, Cam. Really aggressive. Big pumps there. Not even opting to manual. He is just aggressively jumping in the backside of those rollers.
Now, we showed that look back from Rotorua 2017 when Keegan Wright was behind Adrian Laurent. And we thought, you know what? History has a tendency to repeat itself. It did just that. And I like this celebration dance even more than the one in New Zealand 2017.
Yeah, Adrian is not happy. I mean, he's shaking hands, but we know it's just bitterly, bitterly disappointed to go out in here in France in front of a home crowd. So Keegan Wright, your first man to the finals. Adrian Laurent, he will go into the bronze medal matchup.
The big question now, who will Keegan Wright face up against in the final? Will it be Thomas Lemoyne, who's ahead right now in his semifinals heat over Luca Camedi? Or will Camedi do what Keegan just did and come from behind? Now with all these stops, all four of these stops, Rotorua, Innsbruck, Leger, and Whistler, we add up all the points earned. And if Thomas Lemoyne advances, he'll be shooting up that leaderboard right now and ruling it. Guinea is out of this competition at the moment, so a huge opportunity for the peak panted wonder to shoot up into the top spot in the world standings.
Luca Camedi, there really is nothing in it. Number 2 seed against Thomas Lemoyne. Neck and neck out of the start. Thomas Lemoyne, very cool and calm. Oh, looks like Luca is behind. He needs to really get going here. Oh, it's not going to be enough.
Lemoyne through the finish line first. Look at this, it's heating up to the point where these riders, when they make it through a heat, they can't help but celebrate. Thomas Lemoyne into the finals. Now, it seems like it was a good choice right now for him to decide to focus so much attention on pump track out here in Leger. He's the guy who won the speed and style just a week ago in Innsbruck, but decided not to compete in it because he thought the pump track was more his style than the speed and style track here. Take a look at this replay.
Yeah, Thomas Lemoyne, our round 1 winner down in Rotorua, had a pretty subpar finish in Innsbruck last week, but he did go into the dual speed and style. So he knows slopestyle is only on Sunday, so he's come out and he's put all his focus into pump track. I think that subpar qualification has really lit a fire in his belly.
Well, here's your bracket for the men right now. We have our gold medal match and our bronze medal match set up. For the gold, it's going to be a battle between Keegan Wright out of New Zealand against Thomas Lemoyne from France. And the bronze medal match will be Adrian Laurent against Luca Camedi. Star-studded field here in the final 4. But right now, we're going to throw a headset on Thomas Lemoyne, a man who's sitting in the finals. Lemoyne, you're going to be going up against Keegan, a guy who does compete in other events out here. You're one of those riders as well. You do the slopestyle. What's it like splitting your time today training for slopestyle and pump track?
I had a very long day, so I started with the pump track at like 8 in the morning. Then I've been going to slopestyle training, then to whip off, and now here. And I felt it done so good in the morning, and now it's getting better and better. I don't know how, but I feel good, so I'm going to try my best to win.
Yeah, you seem to ride best when you spend all day on your bike. And right now, I'm going to let you strategize for the final. You're going to be going up against Keegan Wright. We're taking a look at your Instagram story feed right now, and it's nonstop action. Waking up first thing in the morning, getting out to pump track practice. So it's probably exhausting hearing me talk to you right now, so I'm going to let you go. Focus, get some water. We'll be cheering for you in the finals, buddy.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, women right now, Keilani Hines versus Via Verbeek. It's time we start giving away some medals here. Keilani Hines, she's so accustomed to be gunning for that gold medal. Right now, she's gonna have to settle for a quest for bronze right now, but in her way is Via Verbeek out of Canada.
No, she'll be disappointed, won't she? I mean, we had her pegged for the final. She knew she could be in the final, qualified second. She's now got to just block out any disappointment and refocus because there's still a bronze medal on the line here. Via Verbeek on the left-hand side of the screen in black. Keilani Hines in blue. She needs to really refocus here and come out swinging. Still points for the Queen of Crankworx and the series here in pump track. Looks like she has reset. She'll take the advantage into the next heat.
Well, Keilani Hines figures if she can't get a gold, you might as well bring something home. You don't want to hop on that plane empty-handed. So putting a good advantage over Via Verbeek. Now, every one of these positions matters because, of course, as we've said, we're tallying up all the results for the overall season standings. Right now, Jill Kintner with a 100-point lead over Keilani Hines. And Jill Kintner in the final. Keilani needs to play defense right now and get those third-place points.
That she does.
Well, you're looking at last year's champ, Adrienne Lerone, on the left side of your screen. Luca Cometti on the right. Luca, the second-place qualifier out here today, looking to take home a medal. Lerone needs all the points he can get for that overall.
Yeah, both these riders were a bit disappointed to be in this matchup. Luca Cometti is hoping for a bit more of the qualifying second. On the right, good start from him. Hop into the backside there. But Adrienne Lerone as well. He needs points for the King of Crankworx title. Man, Luca Cometti pushing hard here to the finish.
Cometti through the line first by 0.19 of a second. Adrienne Lerone, not accustomed to seeing a red number above his name. We got a beautiful sunset out here tonight. Take a picture.
That it is. Perfectly groomed course here. Those berms are holding up nicely. Luca Cometti, here's where he got aggressive and it paid off. He'll take the advantage into the next heat here, the bronze medal matchup. So we've got Adrienne Lerone from France. Can he take a medal in front of home crowd? Or will it be Luca Cometti, who we haven't seen up on a podium?
Well, these gold medal rounds are no easy task to find yourselves in. This is the path right here for Jill Kintner to make it there. She had to knock out French rider Leah Wheel, then Via Verbeek. Now, Keilani Hines, of course, not making it into the final. Mathilde Bernard, full-on upset here. Amazing. We're going to have to learn more about this young rider out of France. We're going to find out if she has what it takes to go up against Jill Kintner shortly.
This is our gold medal round. I mean, the youngster from France in front of a home crowd, not showing a lot of emotion. I think she's just excited to be here and not used to this attention.
Well, we got to think she comes from some sort of BMX background. Of course, Jill has those roots as well.
Good start from her. She needs to put the pressure on early because Jill will be good down the back straight. They are neck and neck into this turn cam. Oh my goodness, what's the time gonna say?
Oh, Mathilde Bernard, more than just a formidable opponent to Jill Kintner. She just crossed the finish line, 0.07 ahead.
She has great start technique. My word, Jill Kintner, but we've seen this before. Jill, now we know the pressure is on. The expectation is here.
Well, Andrew, you asked her earlier in the day when we threw that headset on her, do you love these moments when the pressure is on? She said yes. Well, here you go. Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, she lives for these moments. It is all good and well coming here and winning and taking home the hardware. But I mean, if it's an easy run, it's just boring. She's done this for many years. She wants a challenge, and man, she's got one here in Matilda. What a great start from her. Good technique. Definitely BMX background. We know that. We just haven't seen a lot of her or any of her at a Crankworx event.
Leger is always full of surprises. We spoke until we were blue in the face about how many great riders we had in the men's field from France. We didn't know anything about Mathilde Bernard, and we surely didn't know that she had what it took to put .07 on Jill Kintner in heat number 1 of the finals. Getting congratulated by Adrienne Lerone right now, a new face in the women's pump track category. But right now, it's all about these two gentlemen here on the right side of your screen in the pink pants. That's France's Thomas Lemoyne. On the left side of your screen, the Kiwi, Keegan Wright. Both riders who have stood on the top step of the podium in pump track before.
Oh, Thomas Lemoyne. Looked like he was caught napping in the start, but he's made up ground already. Keegan Wright has won this event before. And Thomas Lemoyne in round 1, but he's behind. Keegan Wright is ahead going into next round. He'll be happy with that, but that is nothing on this track. Anything can happen and will. So both those riders talking to themselves, talking to each other, seem to both kind of mess up the start a bit.
.11 is definitely something that Thomas Lemoyne can accomplish if he has a perfect run. Here's a look back at how Keegan Wright was able to get that advantage.
So this is where Keegan, as we've said in previous rounds, he's good down this final straight. Lemoyne was fighting as hard as he can. Just wasn't going to be enough. 0.11. Not a lot in that, as you can see from that. Almost a photo finish. So Keegan Wright, your number 1 qualifier, he's made it way all to the final.
Well, there we go. We're going to be giving away a bronze medal shortly, the first medal of the night. Left side of your screen, out of the USA, Keilani Hines. And on the right side of your screen, wearing the black, out of Canada, that's Via Verbeek. She has .58 to make up.
No more for her downhill, Via. Keilani Hines with the advantage, .58. She seems to block out that disappointment of not going to the final. She's here in the bronze medal matchup. Bronze medal matchup. Keilani is caught napping in the gate there. Via Verbeek inching ahead, but Keilani is pulling that back in the final straight. Looked a bit high on that turn, but she is going to go through here. Yeah, that'll be it, and all she wrote for a bronze medal. Keilani Hines. Disappointing to not be in the final, but she still goes home with some hardware cap.
Keilani Hines, first 2 stops this season, she has not boarded that plane without a medal in her bag. She does it again here. Maybe not the color she was looking for, but great way to salvage some valuable points, not only for the pump track overall, but for the queen of Crankworx overall standings, Via Verbeek with a respectable 4th. So there we go. Our first medal of the night goes to Keilani Hines, but now it's time to do the same for the men. Will it be Luca Cometti out of the USA, the 2nd place qualifier, or Adrienne Lerone, the reigning champ here in Leger? Adrienne Lerone has .19 to make up.
Adrian has got to stay focused here. He's got to get a good start.
And they're off.
Not the best start by him. Luca has a great start in him. Luca needs to keep a wheel ahead. Adrian needs to just attack all out here.
Wow! The differential is .19. It's .10, so not going to be enough for Adrienne Lerone. Luca Cometti will be taking home a bronze medal. 2 Crankworx bronze medals from the pump track going back to the States.
What a great ride from Luca. Came out, qualified in 2nd, and backed it up. Made his way all the way to the bronze medal matchup and took down a former winner, the king of Crankworx himself, Adrienne Lerone.
Well, there we go. Hopefully for Luca Cometti, this is just a sign of things to come. This is his first medal in the pump track competition out here at a Crankworx festival. That's gotta feel great. Well, we've given away some bronze medals, and of course the stage is set for the finals. We'll be giving away gold medals in the women's field and the men's field. Will Jill Kintner have what it takes to swoop that out from under the young gun, Mathilde Bernard? Will Lemoyne have what it takes to grab that gold medal? It's the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge Finals coming up after the break.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
SRAM, the power of bicycles. Well, it all comes down to this in the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. It's time for some gold medal rounds. Now we have on the left side of the screen right now the youngster, 18 years old, from France. She's been studying under the tutelage of Adrienne Leron. She's done racing BMX. She said, I want to try this Crankworx thing. Now she's in the final against Jill Kintner, the champ. Let's take a look back at run number 1 and find out how we ended up here where Jill Kintner is behind the 8 ball with a red plus number above her name. Not something we see very often.
No, Matilda, great start with the hop into the backside of that roller. Very good on the manuals. She's got great touch on the bike here. And then she just kept it going to the finish and would take a small lead into the next round. Small in stature, but you can see, opting for flat pedals. Great bike handler, great control. Not to take anything away from Jill, I mean, she is literally the GOAT of pump track. So for her to get a wheel ahead of her, it's just so impressive. There's Adrienne Leron, who's been helping her.
Well, it just goes to show that it's all about efficiency and bike skill in here. That's how you generate speed. Both of these riders with BMX backgrounds, one who's taken home a medal from the Olympics, one who we're just learning more about as the moments progress here. Mathilde Bernard out of France, wearing the bright yellow on the left. Jill Kintner on the right. Jill Kintner with a deficit to make up. What will the story be?
Good start from Matilda again. She's got that hop. Jill needs to get more aggressive here because Matilda has a great final straight.
Oh.
Can she do it? I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, Mathilde Bernard.
It's not. Wow.
First again, she takes home the gold.
That's the first bit of emotion we've seen from Matilda Bernard. She was so cool, calm, and collected throughout this whole competition. Qualified in third, and she's gone on to take the gold medal against none other than Jill Kittner.
Oh, we will be talking about this for a long time. The arrival of Matilda Bernard. You see, she's celebrating with Adrienne Lerone, who's been helping her out prepare for this event. Now, of course, she has friends and family here on home soil in France. Congratulations to the young gun, Matilda Bernard.
So great start. She really drives good momentum. She hops deep into the backside of that first roller. My word, have we seen this story before at Crankworx. Somewhat of an unknown to us, big in the BMX world, and she is making a name for herself, beating Jill Kittner to take a gold medal here in Leger. Even Thomas Lemoyne is stoked on that. There's your first gold medal for France here in Leger.
The only thing I have to say about this girl right here is somebody buy her a plane ticket to Whistler, British Columbia in August.
Wow, what a story unfolded here in the evening in the Leger pump track.
There you have it. The winner of the 2018 RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. A new name on tour. I'm sure this is not the last we'll hear from her. Well, we're in the mood to give away gold medals here. The final round for the men on the left side of your screen from the slopestyle world, Thomas Lemoyne. On the right side of your screen from New Zealand, a guy who's also won pump track. He comes from downhill, Keegan Wright. Now, Lemoyne has .11 to make up here if he wants to make it back-to-back golds for France.
Oh. Great start from Lemoyne. Keegan was caught napping out of the start. Lemoyne has the advantage in the turn. This is where Keegan is so fast though.
Oh.
Wow, he pulls back. Is it enough though?
Wow, Lemoyne needed to beat him by more than .11, but he crosses behind by .05. Adding to that deficit, Keegan Wright returns to the top step of the pump track podium.
Man, he backed up the #1 qualifier. Man on form, on speed on this track. And he had his work cut out. What a slow start from him as well. Thomas Lemoyne, after a slow seeding, really came through the round. As you see, Thomas Lemoyne was out the start like a rocket. This is where Keegan started really pushing. Behind in the first turn. And this is the final straight that is basic. We need to rename it after Keegan after what he did this tonight.
Exactly. What in the world is he doing to find so much time after that berm? A nice awkward hug from Keegan and Lemoyne right there. They've been through an entire day of competition and they're happy to be on the podium. Of course, Lemoyne is one step down from where he would ideally want to be, but Keegan Wright returning to the top step of the podium in pump track.
Yeah, the fairy tale finish did not happen for the French here in home soil. But what a great race from Keegan Wright. Won back in 2017 in Road Tour. Has not quite found that same spark till now, but there you go. Now he's a two-time pump track champion.
Well, he earned it. He had to beat Benedict Lass. He had to beat Adrienne Lerone. And of course, to finish it off, he had to beat Thomas Lemoyne. All ridiculously formidable opponents. So Keegan Wright grabbing that gold, Thomas Lemoyne in second. Now Luca Cometti grabbing his first pump track medal at a Crankworx festival. And look at that girl right there. Tippy is definitely gonna have a field day interviewing her. Matilda Bernard. Very impressive.
What a fairy tale finish for her. In front of a home crowd here in Leger, France, taking down the queen of everything, the queen of Crankworx, the queen of pump track. That is unbelievable. From virtually an unknown to us, big in the BMX world.
Well, plenty of surprises out there. Andrew, what stood out for you out here? Ridiculous competition.
Well, for me, it was unheard of that we're going to see someone take down Jill. If you had told me who you're going to bet on, I'd put a lot of money on Jill. But we had a relatively unknown Matilda go down and take down Jill. So that was just amazing. Over to the men. Keegan Wright backing up the #1 qualifier, and he had to go through some huge names to do just that.
Well, an event that will definitely upset the Fantasy Crankworx standings. And that's just the beginning of our competitions here in round number 3 of the Crankworx World Tour. Of course, we're in Leger. It's the RockShox Leger Pump Track Challenge. Thanks for tuning in. Join us tomorrow for Dual Speed and Style. We'll see you there.